2016. Dak has 8 more wins, but the two are pretty close in every other category, even tying on touchdown passes. Joined now by Fox NFL analyst LeVar Arrington Smokey. But Acho, I'm going to you first. Who's under more pressure this season, Dak or Wentz?
Russ, it's obviously Carson Wentz. He's under more pressure, but let me tell you why. Again, like I said, I'm born and raised in Dallas, so I understand how Dallas people work. I understand how Dallas fans are. I grew up with the Emmitt Smith poster right above my ceiling. Every day I would wake up, I'd be like, I want to be like Emmitt, right? That's how Dallas people are, eternal optimists. Every year they're going to win the Super Bowl. And that's how fans look at Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott first year, 23 touchdowns, but they went 13-3, so they say 13-3. Dak is amazing. Dak Prescott this last year, 4,900 yards. Woo. They went 8-8, but he threw for 4,900 yards. Amazing. It's like when you're in a relationship, you just find the great things about them. If they look great but terrible person, oh, but at least she looked good. If they don't look great but great person, but they have a great heart. That's how the Cowboys fans are with Dak Prescott. They just find the silver lining. So Wentz is under more pressure because he's always been more heavily scrutinized. It doesn't matter what Wentz does. Again, last year, led his team above all odds to the playoffs, 9-7. Dude gets knocked out by a cheap shot, which Marcellus consistently fails to mention. Gets knocked out by a cheap shot, and everybody's like, Carson Wentz can't stay healthy. Carson Wentz, 4,000 yards. Again, no 500-yard receivers. He balled, but Carson Wentz still can't do it. Carson Wentz is under more pressure because he's always under more pressure because he has more scrutiny.
I love how you use that you're from Texas. I mean, that kind of could try in some type of weak way of justifying not taking Dak on this topic of conversation. But and also with you wanting Nick Foles to be the best, greatest Eagle of all time. You have this Eagle infatuation.
You really
and
do.
I understand that, Macho Acho. But by far, it is Dak Prescott. Let's put this in the proper perspective.
Please.
Let's cue up some film, all right? Now, we're talking about looking at how important somebody is to the media. All right? Now, this is Carson Wentz having a house party, and we discussed this maybe
Dak.
3, 4. It wasn't Carson Wentz. It was Dak Prescott. You know why? Because Dak Prescott is the exact opposite of what you just said, Mr. Acho. He is being scrutinized. There's so much scrutiny that we got Karen and Ezekiel on the dang camera right there looking at what they eating. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. How do you sit there and look at a man who already has his contract in hand, already is just looked at as, the Eagles, he's the quarterback of the Eagles, but then you look at Dak Prescott and you say, wow, Dak don't even have his contract yet. Will he ever get his contract? You know who is the most talked about person on this show other than one LeBron James? Dak Prescott. Go ahead. I'm going to pass it on over to you, Marcellus. I'm going to pass it on over to you. It's Dak Prescott.
Man, LeVar, everything you said, I loved, except you think it's Dak Prescott. It's actually Carson Wentz. Tremendous argument by you. But you know why?
Thank you.
I'm going with Carson Wentz because the truth hurts. Jalen hurts. And if you look at Carson Wentz, forget how many times we talk about him on the show. Forget that his misperception is that he's not a great quarterback, borderline elite quarterback. It's the reality that in his own organization, in his own home, they're questioning this guy. So he has a lot to prove. And don't look at Andy Dalton as the same as Jalen Hurts, because Andy Dalton, if he ever gets an opportunity and hits, is going to be expensive. But Jalen Hurts for the next 4 years is going to be the low Walmart. And that's the blueprint of how to build it in the NFL. You go out there and get you a quarterback and build around him. So right now they have a very expensive but broken down Mercedes-Benz Acho style in Carson Wentz. And they're like, as soon as we need him in January, damn it. Okay, do it again.
It ain't starting.
Damn it.
It ain't starting.
Okay, fine, we got boom, boom. All right, we playing Seattle. Let's go. As soon as you get out the parking lot, back. Hey, they T-boned me. Yeah, they did, but the car ain't working. Who gives a damn what happened? The point of it is because if you look at Carson Wentz, he can't go from start to finish. Greatest ability is availability, and the injury concern is undermining him more so than anything else.
Besides the fact that I'm about to steal Marcellus's Tesla and take it off the lot, I'm going to get back to the point here, okay? And the point is that everybody else has a scapegoat in the NFC East. Dak Prescott, new head coach. Daniel Jones, Giants, new head coach. Dwayne Haskins, Redskins, new head coach. But who has the best head coach? Carson Wentz, allegedly, because Doug Peterson has most recently won a Super Bowl. And I do think Doug Peterson has proven himself to be a phenomenal head coach. So Carson Wentz, he doesn't have the insulated excuses. Dak Prescott, well, my best receiver, one of my best receivers is CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup's only going on his third year in the league. Amari Cooper, well, he battled with injuries, this and that. I got a new quarterback coach. I got a new head coach. Dak Prescott has built-in excuses that Carson Wentz does not have. Dak Prescott, bro, I'm telling you, LeVar, say what you will and say what you will wrong. The fact of the matter is, even if Dak Prescott, bro, regardless of what he does, people will make the argument he still did well and it wasn't his fault. Because that's what people have done his whole career. Cowboys lose to the Eagles when they needed it most. Week 16 this past season. Everybody blamed Amari. Cowboys lose to the Bills. National television. Everybody blames somebody else. Blame play calling. Blame Kellen Moore. Blame this. Blame that. So the Cowboys fans, they have an affinity to Dak Prescott. I get it. I like the guy. His bow tie's phenomenal. I love it. But the fact of the matter is, bruh, people gonna look to love Dak Prescott regardless.
All I know is this.
What you know?
It's a cold world out there. And there ain't no
blankets.
All right, that's all I know. And turning y'all's frown upside down back into a smile, I could use the same exact argument and say that that's the reason why Dak Prescott has so much pressure on him is because of all of the new coaching staffs in the NFC East. Now, you both played in the NFC East. It is one of the weakest. It has become one of the most embarrassing divisions to play in. It's not a very, very competitive division, okay?
That's fair.
So when you look at the amount of talent that's in that division and what should take place, we're all looking at the Eagles to be on top. Now, when you're looking at what took place in Dallas, they probably got rid of Jason Garrett for two reasons. One, too much talent to end up 8-8 and not in the playoffs. Two, you didn't give, which we'll touch on this later in the show, but you didn't get your running game off the ground up and running. I think there is more pressure for Dak Prescott to deliver with this new head coach and Mike McCarthy because the excuses aren't there when you have a guy who led someone and developed someone like Aaron Rodgers. The excuse is not there. Even if he's a first-year head coach, we brought this guy in here. He's a quarterback whisperer. You really have no leeway. And the confirmation of that, which I did like the Jalen Hurts argument. I did like that point. But I will say this. The pressure and the scrutiny is all based upon following one thing that matters to everybody. And what is that? The bottom line. And what's the bottom line? The money. And the money is in Carson Wentz's bank account and still trickulating in there. All right. But one, Mr. Dak Prescott still has yet to get represented or made whole with a real contract from his franchise. That has been a large conversation this offseason. That creates a lot of scrutiny, thus creating a lot of pressure.
Not more than Carson Wentz. Look, the organization in Philadelphia looks at Carson Wentz and be like, at a certain point, it's not somebody else's fault all the time. Everyone else's fault all the time. Lack of talent around me. Oh, I got cheap shotted. Oh, my injury concern shouldn't be as grand as it is. You can't always blame injuries or lack of talent. Sometimes it's just on you, big dog. So look, we all have put on those elastic shorts before, and then for whatever reason, the elasticity starts to stretch, and you're like, oh, I hope this thing can snap back. You cannot, if you're Carson Wentz, let a backup win a Super Bowl on your watch because it stretches it out in terms of expectations. And right now, don't look like they're going to snap back unless Carson Wentz can live up to those same grand expectations. Staying in Dallas right now, Amari Cooper